On this episode of the Pop Shop Show, we make something ugly that's also delicious.
Roll it.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Pop Shop Show, where we talk popcorn, eat popcorn, and most importantly show you recipes that you can use at home. Today we've got a lot of fun things to do. You can see these ingredients laid out in front of me, and we're going to get cooking right away. But real quick, I wanted to introduce our very spooky co-host, Riley. Say hi, Riley.
Hi.
Okay, you can see this wonderful makeup that she's done herself for Halloween. And what we're making is actually a special Halloween treat that you guys could have for a Halloween party coming up this Monday. So what is this recipe called? What are we making?
Monster Mash Mix.
The Monster Mash Mix, okay? And it's gonna have a couple different things in here. We've got peanuts, candy corn, and Reese's Pieces, which we thought would make a really nice blend in there with the popcorn. Of course, if you have any food allergies or anything like that, you can substitute these out for any other candies. The important thing is that we're going to be using this almond bark. It's kind of like a white chocolate coating that we're going to be putting on it, and that you can pick up at just any local grocery store. And so, yeah, there's that. And I've already got that in here heating up. It does take a little while, probably 8 or to 10 minutes, because you want to heat that up on a low setting. It does have a tendency to burn. Riley, why don't you tell everybody at home a little bit about yourself, since you're here as our co-host, while that's heating up. Who are you? How long have you been here? What do you do?
Okay, so I'm Riley. I go to Davis High School. I've been here about a year now, and I love working here because I'm able to use my artistic talents with popcorn. I'm able to do product photography, and I'm able to do chalk art and different things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely appreciate you doing that for us. She has a lot of fun and a lot of talent that she shares with us. We really appreciate that. This is still melting down. Why don't you grab that popcorn over there real quick? And we can talk about what we're doing with our popcorn here, okay? So we've already gotten this popped up. The recipe calls for 12 cups of popcorn. And you can see that we're using, like we talked about in past episodes, a mushroom popped popcorn, which is that round shape that you're gonna get that's a little sturdier and not so susceptible to break off and leave you with a bunch of crumbs. So that's really important. Second thing is as we're gonna try to use a coating with that purple food dye over here, we're gonna try to change the color of it. Using white popcorn is super important. I don't like using air popped popcorn. That is one way to get a good, clean white pop, but I think personally the air popped popcorn kind of tastes like styrofoam. So I wouldn't be using that if it were up to me. We use a coconut oil instead of the traditional canola oil that gets us that whiter color when we make our chocolate coated popcorn. So you can pick that up here at the shop. Just make sure you ask for the white popcorn specifically. So as that's heating up, I'm going to start with this coloring right here. We're going to use this violet coloring to give it a little bit more of a Halloween color. And we're just going to stir it a little bit as it's melting down.
A quick note on the almond bark, just make sure that when you melt it on a low setting, just so you don't burn it, because it's really easy to burn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you are going to use a microwave, that's kind of easier because, actually it's easier to burn it because you might forget about it. So make sure you pull it out every once in a while and stir it. Probably every 90 seconds or so, you're going to want to stir it a little bit so that you don't burn it. Okay, Riley, go ahead and get our candy ready for us. We're going to need to use that measuring cup that's in front there. And it does not take very much of this coloring at all. I've got kind of a good lavender color right there so far. I'm going to use a little bit more, but not much. And so I'm just dipping this little stirrer into that coloring. Doesn't take very much at all. It's almost there. Okay, you can take your candy and dump it into your mixing bowl here, or your pot, whatever you're using. But make sure and pull it off the heat. Those Reese's Pieces are gonna melt really fast if it's still on the stove top. What's our next ingredient, Riley?
We're gonna put in the dry roasted salt and peanuts.
Peanuts, nice. And you know what, we're just throwing in a couple things that we like. You could use 100 other things, obviously. If there's allergies, then nuts might not be the best way to go if you're not sure what people are or aren't familiar with, you could use M&Ms, you could use gummy bears, all kinds of fun things you can toss in there. I'm going to stir that up again. A little mixture here is starting to turn out really nice for us. We're just going to put that last ingredient in there. What do you got there, Riley?
Candy corn.
Which I think are disgusting, by the way. So Riley came up with the recipe, but if it were up to me, I would never be using candy corn in this. That's just a personal preference of mine. Again, like I said, any old candy will do. Riley, go ahead and dump that popcorn right here in the middle. I'm gonna grab us a spatula here, and we're just gonna dump this out over the product. Here, I'll actually go this way so you can see. Okay, and that almond bark coating does get really, really thick once you add the coloring in there. So make sure that you do that when it's all the way melted and you're ready to start adding in your other ingredients. Now, Riley, go ahead and just start mixing that in together so that we get a nice even coating. You don't want big globs of chocolate and then some popcorn over on the edges that doesn't have any chocolate in it at all. So we're just going to mix that together with our hands, which is why we have our gloves on. Let me help you out there. Try to get all this popcorn included. All right, we are kind of making a mess here, so make sure you're prepared for that and that you have cleanup ready to go. Okay, and you know, in our own experience with chocolate, if you want this to dry out so that it doesn't stick all over your fingers, like you can see Riley's hands are all messy, and you don't want your guests to get sticky and gross, make sure you let that dry for 5 or 10 minutes before you eat it. But anyways, Noah, go ahead and zoom in real quick. You can take a look at our finished product here. This is a big gooey mess that we call the Monster Mash Mix. All right, go ahead and zoom back out and we're gonna try some. So Riley, do you wanna dive in first? Let me know what you think.
Sure.
Have at it. You gotta make sure and avoid that candy corn. Ugh. You know what? That's great. I really like it. It is difficult to get the coating, so maybe in hindsight, could have used a little bit more of that almond bark next time. All right, so thanks for tuning in on this week's episode of the Pop Shop Show, where we eat popcorn, talk popcorn, and most importantly, show you recipes that you can use at home.
Okay.